Hi, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Lucy Bustamante, news anchor for NBC 10 Philadelphia and Telemundo 62. And I am so pleased to be joining you today to help celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Military Spouse JD Network. My husband is Commander Richard Rasco, Naval Special Warfare Virginia Beach reservist. And together we are raising 4 resilient children ages 9 to 4. Well, after 16 years in the Navy, 14 of those together, I understand what it means to have 5 different addresses just in the last 4 years of life. I know what it means to earn your own career, only to have to leave it with children in tow to help your spouse serve their country. In 13 years, we survived 11 deployments, thankful for the support of our village. You find out what it means when they say the entire family serves. All too often, you move and you take a pay cut if you're lucky enough to start over and be successful as the new person in the office or the firm. As a television journalist, I've been blessed to start over twice. This last time 3 years ago with NBC Universal Comcast, a company who prides itself on serving the nation's military families in very tangible ways, and not just saying thank you for your service, but how can we help you? In my profession, I needed a reputation and a network, but not a bar exam or a board certification. So I commend you as a lawyer having the perseverance to continue your beloved profession and vocation despite all the obstacles in the way to continue it. And as we military spouses do, if there's a problem, there is nothing we will stop at to fix it. So it should come as no surprise that MSJDN was formed in the summer of 2011 by 2 military spouses who were frustrated with the challenges and the obstacles of maintaining their legal career that seemed incompatible with the military lifestyle. The primary purpose of MSJDN at its founding was to advocate for the licensing reciprocity for military spouses so that you could continue your legal career following a move without sitting for yet another bar exam. MSJDN has made great strides in obtaining licensing accommodations in 40 of the 50 states and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So the next big challenge is breaking down even more barriers to military spouse employment. MSJDN also set out to be a professional networking resources for military spouse lawyers and law students. Since 2011, the membership of MSJDN has swelled to nearly 1,000 members and supporters. And over the last 10 years, MSJDN's mission has expanded to support and advocate for all military families who serve alongside their beloved service members. So today we're excited to share with you some of the key milestones in MSJDN's history, the challenges that the organization meets, and the road ahead. So before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsors, without whom our work over the last decade would not have been possible. We would also like to thank the sponsors of our 10th anniversary year for supporting us during such a challenging and momentous time. We are especially grateful for the support of our 3 strongest partners, Amazon, Prudential, and USAA. Amazon Military is committed to hiring veterans and military spouses, and their legal department is devoted to providing legal assistance to underserved communities. Prudential provides a wide range of military and veteran initiatives. With veterans programs supporting education and employment, they also lead partnerships with other companies that benefit the military community. USAA, founded to serve those who serve, and has made huge strides to increase that commitment in recent years by partnering with MSJDN and hiring our heroes to increase hiring of veterans and military spouses all across career fields. Thank you again to these and all of the supporters of the Military Spouse JD Network. Our ability to provide support and services to military families can only continue because of your generosity. And now, to begin our program, I would like to introduce you to the woman at the helm of the MSJDN during the height of the pandemic era. Immediate past president Dawn Guile, the proud spouse of Army Sergeant Major DJ Guile and mom of 3 girls. Dawn has long devoted her time to serving the military community, including having served in various leadership capacities within MSJDN and for other military organizations. She's a graduate of Loyola University of Chicago Law School. Dawn is a skilled litigator representing corporate defendants in complex civil litigation cases in federal and state courts in Maryland and the District of Columbia. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Dawn Guile.
Thank you, Lucy, for setting the stage for today's program. I'm excited to be able to celebrate MSJDN's 10th anniversary as my term as president comes to a close. As you have heard, the mission of MSJDN is to create opportunities for military spouses to practice their chosen profession, leading to stronger military communities and increased retention of quality service members who no longer feel they have to separate from service to support their spouse's professional career. MSJDN supports military spouse attorneys as they navigate military life and a legal career through a network of support, professional development training, and state-level advocacy. We provide quality content, mentoring, networking opportunities, and other resources while educating and collaborating with policy leaders. MSJDN also supports members in their search for meaningful career opportunities and gives back to the military community through pro bono legal services. MSJDN has made great strides in passing licensing accommodations in 40 states and the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we're actively working on other states while ensuring that the rules that are put in place actually work. Where licensing reciprocity rules have proven successful, military spouses are using them to quickly become licensed to start working in their new home states. Nevertheless, our work continues as we push to reach all 50 states in all territories. And in practice, many rules don't work well and need to be reevaluated. MSJDN has started petitioning some states to improve their existing rules, such as in states where a military spouse attorney can practice law only if another licensed attorney agrees to supervise her and attend court appearances at her side. Through another one of our programs, MSJDN develops career opportunities for military spouses. You'll hear more about this program later. It's a success story. Since our founding, 24% of members found jobs through the network. Through MSJDN's Homefront Rising program, we provide all military spouses the training and tools they need to take a seat at the decision-making table, whether that may be in appointed positions or by running for office at any level. In 2020 alone, we trained over 75 military spouses and family members. 2 Homefront Rising alumni have run for Congress, and several others have stepped up to run at the state and local level. MSJDN's Justice for Military Families program provides free legal help to Gold Star families and wounded veterans. Through a partnership with Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, we use our military insight, legal skills, and widespread professional networks to serve this important population with competence and compassion. In 2020, MSJDN proudly forged a new partnership with American Red Cross Military Veteran Caregiver Network to provide free legal services to wounded veterans and their families. Justice for Military Families has assisted around 300 clients since its founding.
The Justice for Military Families project meets the legal needs of military families by placing those cases with military spouse attorneys or their vast legal networks to make sure that military family legal needs are met and that those families are taken care of by the legal community in the United States.
We anticipate that since the project's inception, JMF has enabled Gold Star families to save over $500,000 in legal fees.
We wanted to connect this group of service-minded military spouse attorneys with those military families who needed legal help. When we were looking at how we could actually provide these pro bono services and really reach the the largest need, we thought of our Gold Star families and our incredible partner, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. You know, TAPS has been serving military families for decades. And we approached them and said, look, we have this idea. We have these military spouse attorneys who are sometimes in a place where they can't practice because they don't have a license, but they want to keep those legal muscles exercised. We'd love to connect them with your Gold Star families to meet their legal needs.
The program has since expanded to include a partnership with the Red Cross Military Caregiver Network and American Tax and Financial Planners. JMF also partners with other veteran service organizations like the Veteran Consortium on an as-needed basis to assist Gold Star families, military families, and veterans. In 2018, JMF partnered with the nonprofit We the Action to provide additional opportunities to link Gold Star families with pro bono legal representation. We have an ongoing, continuing need from individuals, law firms, corporate legal departments, and bar associations who might partner with us to ensure that these very deserving Gold Star families receive the representation and legal resources that they very much need in order to address their unique legal circumstances.
As military spouses, MSJDN members are passionate about our community and giving back to that community through programs such as Justice for Military Families. JMF allows us the opportunity to work with Gold Star families and to connect them with pro bono legal counsel who assist them on their cases. As a law student, this has been an invaluable experience for me as I've learned more about the law, but also gained experience working with clients. I'm honored to have the opportunity to work with JMF, and I hope you'll consider contributing to continue our mission in the future.
Currently, we offer our services to Gold Star family members referred through the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, also known as TAPS, and other similar organizations. If you are a Gold Star family member, you can find out more about TAPS at www.taps.org. If you are not connected to an organization like TAPS that we partner with, then you can submit a request for legal assistance directly to JMF by emailing jmf@msjdn.org.
We've come a long way and accomplished so much in our 10 years. To tell us more about the early days of MSJDN, I'd like to turn the screen over to two of our founders, Eleanor Majors-Vono and Mary Redding.
Ten years ago, I was living in Tucson, Arizona, where my husband was flying F-16s, and we had two very little girls. Before that, we were stationed in Dayton, Ohio, and before that, we were stationed overseas and in two separate locations. In Dayton, Ohio, I found myself without a job and without a bar license. I was a California licensed attorney, and as many of you know, especially those in the legal profession, no states recognize California bar license for reciprocity. So I found myself in a new state, and I found myself unable to register and take the bar exam. I had missed all of the deadlines by the time we received those PCS orders from overseas. And I filed a petition in the Ohio Supreme Court a couple of years before MSJDN was founded to change the rules and allow reciprocity for military spouses. And in 2011, another military spouse found that Ohio Supreme Court brief requesting reciprocity and accommodations for military spouse attorneys. She was also a military spouse attorney, and she reached out to me and said, I am not alone. There's another one out there. And so we joined forces in 2011.
Back in 2011, I had just recently PCSed with my family to Virginia. And my career had really followed the typical military spouse path. I'd been an Army judge advocate on active duty. I had gotten out after serving my Army ROTC commitment and worked at the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. But after PCSing down to South Carolina, where I was not licensed and couldn't work, despite being licensed in Virginia, Texas, and DC, it was 2011, and I was working as a freelance attorney writing appellate briefs. And I got a phone call one night from my father, who is a retired Army judge advocate, and he spent 29 years on active duty. He loved being a mentor to young attorneys. And he had gone to a bar association meeting of the military law section of the Texas bar. And he called me so excited to tell me about this remarkable young lawyer who was telling my story. He said she's just like you, is I think what he said to me on the phone. He said, you've got to call Mary Redding Smith. And sort of the rest is history. Obviously, I picked up the phone, I think that night, and called Mary right away.
MSJDN started as soon as I found another military spouse facing this issue. It was founded and created because we needed an accommodation to continue our chosen profession. And it is a very interesting position to be in where your spouse's career forces you to move. So MSJDN was founded out of necessity, and it was founded because no other military related organization represented our particular interests.
So I think the first couple years, certainly 2011, 12, 13, 14, those first years, I think one of the things, I would describe them as exhausting and exhilarating at the same time. So they were exhausting because most everyone was holding down a regular job. Many had small young children or kids in the home. Many were dealing with deployed spouses. We were dealing with moves, finding new houses. The exhausting part was we were doing all of this MSJDN work on nights and weekends. And we used to, and on our own dime. At the time, there was no funding, and there was certainly no membership dues at that point. And so we used to joke, like people would say, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, it depends on which day you're asking. Like I have my day job, and then I put on my night and weekend hat and I do my MSJDN work, which was a labor of love.
And the bottom line was we didn't want anyone else to feel the way we felt. You know, Eleanor didn't want anyone else to feel the way she felt in South Carolina, and I didn't want anyone to ever feel the way I felt in Dayton, Ohio. Just building the messaging around military spouse employment, that messaging remains today and has really changed how the federal government hires military spouses, how the Department of Defense looks at readiness.
Setbacks and challenges were pretty much par for the course for us in those early years as we were building MSJDN. We had remarkable success. I think we learned a lot along the way. Early on, we had thought it might be easiest just to go to the Congress and seek a federal law that would allow us to have this reciprocity concept, or at least a licensing accommodation. We were told in no uncertain terms that the states would resist that, which is why we chose to go the 50-state route. Interestingly, there's now some movement on the Hill to try and address the issue. I think they've realized after 10 years being at this, there might be a more efficient way to do that. It is a remarkable network of spouses supporting one another, not just with, I need a job and I know a job is available. We post jobs for sure. That's a big part of it. But it's, what do I do if I think I'm going to be pregnant during the job interview? Do I mention it? I mean, the level of detail of support is really incredible. And I know I've grown as a professional on a personal level as well, just watching those conversations take place.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's a story of service, right? Service to our country, and also the desire for us, especially in the legal profession, to provide this service to the public. So it was really moving to read some of the stories of service that people were able to publish, including your article, Eleanor, in your alumni magazine.
There's one thing that really has always impressed and amazed me about the military spouse community is while we focused on the attorneys, whether someone is working as an attorney or not, I've marveled at the creative ways that our members and military spouses in general find to either start their own business, volunteer their time. These are people who don't just sit around staring at their navels or feeling sorry for themselves. We have lots of challenges, but everybody has lots of challenges. And it is about the most special and unique group of people I've ever run across.
I agree. It is before I married my husband, and we, set off on this adventure with the Air Force. I was a corporate lawyer in California, and while I had wonderful friends and an amazing community and an amazing boss, amazing executive team, what I learned in the military community is to depend on others in a way that you just cannot replicate. But what we can replicate is that support for each other that we can provide to our local communities and to those of us in the profession. As we have shared, MSJDN advocates for licensing reciprocity for military spouses, including bar membership without additional examination. Each state's highest court sets its own rules regarding bar admission in that jurisdiction. In the early days, we were literally boots on the ground, going door to door with our message and showing up at state capitals and Supreme Courts to make a difference. Today, we continue the state-by-state approach to our advocacy efforts.
MSJDN advocates for licensing accommodations for military spouses, including bar memberships without additional examination. Each state Supreme Court and Bar Association sets its own rules regarding bar admission in that jurisdiction. Accordingly, we have adopted a state-by-state approach to our advocacy efforts. In my situation, my husband manipulated his career so we could stay in Illinois a year longer so that way I could have reciprocity on my license, assuming we would even PCS to a jurisdiction that allowed reciprocity. As it happens, we PCS to Florida, who does not have reciprocity with anybody, and I was unable to find a job as a lawyer. Instead, the MSJDN State Licensing Committee provided me with an opportunity to tell the story of military spouse attorneys and why licensing accommodations are so important to military families with professional spouses.
MSJDN has accomplished so much in the last 10 years in regards to state licensing initiatives. Specifically, we have state licensing accommodations in 41 jurisdictions, which include 40 states and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we are still working on obtaining state licensing accommodations in the last 10 states. Actually, we have 6 states currently underway that are reviewing state licensing accommodations and are hoping to have finalized state licensing accommodations in those states soon, getting us closer to 50 states supporting military spouse attorneys every day.
We have drafted a model rule to assist jurisdictions interested in supporting military families by enacting licensing accommodations for military spouses. If adopted by state licensing authorities, the proposed rule allows military spouse attorneys to practice in a jurisdiction if they are in good standing in another jurisdiction and in the state due to military orders.
We are also hoping to revitalize state licensing initiatives that have burdensome supervision requirements, which has happened in a handful of states. And so our goal is to be able to ensure that military spouse attorneys are able to transfer their professional and work experience to other states as they are moving to continue supporting their service members while they are supporting the mission of the U.S. military.
Our licensing efforts are supported by the American Bar Association, the Conference of Chief Justices, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Military Officers Association of America, the National Military Family Association, and many other nonprofits and associations that support military families.
MSJDN needs your help to sustain our efforts. It will always be a battle to revisit burdensome rules, to be able to maintain our very supportive community of military spouse attorneys as we continue to move around the world and the globe in support of our service members and the mission of the U.S. military. And we cannot continue to maintain these efforts and the support of our military spouses without the help of our sponsors like you. So I hope that you join us today.
Well, you heard from Mary and Eleanor about some of MSJDN's early struggles and their successes. And since its founding, the organization has been led by so many amazing military spouses. Let's take a look back now with some of them and celebrate just how far this group has come.
Hi, my name is Erin Worth. I proposed waiving bar exams for military spouse attorneys in the ABA Journal in 2007. A few years later, I found another military spouse attorney, and 10 years ago, we created MSJDN. The network grew quickly as we found more members, and we educated both the legal and the military communities about military spouse attorney challenges. For example, I drafted an ABA resolution And I spoke to the House of Delegates and I explained my experience as a Coast Guard spouse. I'd moved 7 times, taken and passed 3 different bar exams, and found 11 full or part-time jobs. The ABA unanimously supported our resolution, which paved the way for state licensing changes and for increased employment opportunities. To celebrate our first anniversary, I put together a blog post which was published by the Obama White House. Any of you who has a good idea can make a real difference. I encourage you to work together and to support each other. Cheers to 10 years.
Hello from Louisiana. I'm Lindsay Savage. I'm an attorney at SRD Legal Group, where I work remotely with several other MSJDN members. I'm a founding member of MSJDN and formerly a board member. I'm currently the liaison to the National Conference of Women's Bar Associations. It's been amazing watching MSJDN grow from a newsletter to what it is today. There's been so many military spouses helped throughout the years, and it's been incredible to watch the growth and enthusiasm that all the members of the organization put in every single day. Thank you all for all your hard work, and cheers to what's to come in the next 10 years.
My name is Rita Hicks. I am Vice President of Business Development at Burford Capital. In my time with MSJDN, I have been a member of the communications team, the government relations director, the governance director, and at one point the Texas State Licensing Director. We wore a lot of hats early on. In my tenure, we launched the Bars and Stripes newsletter. We started the flywheel effect on the rule changes around the country, and we launched a movement to get fair consideration of Judge Patricia Millett for the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. Next, I hope we roll our way all the way to 50 states that support military spouses with licensing accommodations. Cheers to 10 years, MSJDN.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Guevara, and I've been a member of MSJDN since 2011. It is through this organization that I've been given an opportunity to meet amazing people. In the past, as a member, I was responsible for organizing one of the first swearing events for our MSJDN members to the United States Supreme Court, sponsored by the DC Circuit Court Judge Patricia Millett. It is also through MSJDN's efforts that I was one of the first attorneys to apply and get admitted to the Colorado State Bar under the military spouse rule. I can't tell you how amazing it's been to see MSJDN grow throughout the years and to witness its members achieve such amazing milestones. All I can say is thank you to everyone for all of your hard work and efforts. I am truly grateful. So with that, I'd like to say happy anniversary to MSJDN. I wish everyone a wonderful year, and cheers to everyone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Winkler. I was president of the Military Spouse JD Network from 2014 to 2015. Before that, I was vice president and one of our founding members. I'm so excited for the 10-year anniversary of MSJDN. I can't believe it's been a whole decade since this wonderful group started, and I'm so excited by all of the relationships, personal friendships, professional accolades, and amazing things that we've accomplished together over the past decade. I'm also looking forward to what the future brings to see what MSJDN continues to accomplish as a bar association for military spouse attorneys. During my tenure at MSJDN, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the rollout of membership dues. I know that sounds like maybe not the most exciting thing, but it really helped establish a foundation upon which the organization could grow and could provide more meaningful services to our members, for the future. And I think, over the past decade, over the past 6 years since I was president, we've seen the organization accomplish and do some amazing things, and I know that is only going to continue.
Hi, my name is Claire Gibson. I'm the principal attorney at Gibson IP Practice in New York. I also have the pleasure of being the current governance director for MSJDN. During my tenure thus far, MSJDN has accomplished an organization rebranding, launched a new website, and a new member relationship portal. I look forward to working with fellow board members and MSJDN's great volunteers on new governance, website, and tech-based projects. Cheers to 10 years.
In our 10 years, MSJDN has accomplished so much. We've improved the licensing landscape for spouses who frequently move and developed career opportunities for military spouses. We've brought culturally competent pro bono legal services to Gold Star families and veterans and trained advocates to succeed in public office. And we've delivered innovative professional development programming to support the unique professional journey of military spouses. MSJDN is well positioned to continue to make a difference in the lives of military families for the next decade and beyond. And there's no one better to kick off the next decade than my successor as president, Kristen Jones. A graduate of Dartmouth College and George Mason University Law School, she has taken 2 bar exams and has practiced law in 4 states. She now lives in her forever home of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and serves as Senior Assistant Attorney General for the Equality State. Kristen is mom to 2 young boys and is married to a JAG attorney stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. Over to you, Kristen, and cheers to 10 years, MSJDN.
Thank you, Dawn. I am so excited to be taking the helm at MSJDN this year, and I'm so grateful to all of our past leaders, those you've heard from today, and so many, many more who built this organization and have brought real change to the military spouse employment landscape. We are in a great position to tackle the next 10 years, and I can't wait to get started. I am thankful to MSJDN because for me, it's been a lifeline, full of friendships, advice, and encouragement at every stage of my legal career and my life as a military spouse. I have only ever practiced state law, so for me, each new duty station means securing a new state license and also applying for a new position in a community where I just don't have any connections yet. So when my husband receives orders to a new Air Force base, my first item on the to-do list is to find MSJDNers who already have a connection to that area. I know that I'm going to have an immediate network of fellowship and support. I'm going to get insight into the local job market. I'm going to get information about how to obtain my license. I'm going to get introductions to local leaders, and I'm going to have someone to go to the Bar Association meetings with me. Being an attorney is central to my sense of self and to my sense of identity. So that is something that I can always count on MSJDN members to immediately recognize, understand, and celebrate with me. As you heard from Eleanor and Mary, MSJDN was created from the need for military spouse attorneys to blaze our own trail. 10 years ago, military spouse employment simply wasn't getting the attention that it needed, setting aside professional military spouse employment. And even where there were state and federal legislatures interested in this issue and committed to solving the problem, what we found is that lawyers were always in a category on our own. Because we are licensed by state judicial branches, we simply couldn't be part of the pack and take advantage of a sea change in licensing reciprocity laws. But of course, MSJDN quickly grew as we found each other and we hit the pavement to advocate for change. We also found a tremendous number of local sponsors and supporters. We spoke with judges and bar associations, and we also spoke with national organizations like the American Bar Association. But we also faced a considerable amount of pushback because we all work within a profession that isn't always as progressive as we would like it to be. Now, MSJDN continues to face a certain amount of skepticism when we advocate for license reciprocity and when we speak with some employers about the value of military spouse, despite the fact that we belong to a very mobile community. But as we face our next decade of service, we have seen a real shift in the mindset surrounding military spouse employment. This issue has been recognized as a national security imperative by the Department of Defense and by the White House. And we've seen the private sector, public agencies, and various military spouse and military support organizations banding together to support military families and to support spouse employment. MSJDN is at a critical point where we know that we can do more with more. MSJDN was and still is an all-volunteer organization. We have always relied on the generous support of our program sponsors. And in the future, in order to expand our reach, we hope to expand our programs to bring on more volunteers, more partners, and staff to help us reach our goals. To achieve real equity for military spouse attorneys, MSJDN needs to finish its work. We need to achieve license reciprocity in all 50 states and all US territories. At the same time, we need to continue to connect with firms and legal departments who are committed to supporting military families through meaningful opportunities. We need to make sure that public and private employers know about our group of diverse and talented professionals, but we also need to educate military spouse employees so that they know the opportunities that are available to them. About 10% of MSJDN members are law students, and fully half of us are in the first 5 years of our careers. We are committed to making sure that these young professionals know that there is absolutely no limit to the career paths available. We have to keep pushing to expand the horizon for all military spouse professionals. And ultimately, we can only achieve that goal through partnerships and funding. MSJDN has been so fortunate over the years to build our network of partnerships with organizations that support our mission and who are committed to helping military spouses and their families. MSJDN is eternally grateful to the sponsors that we've identified over the years and who have joined us from day one and who have supported our growth all along the way. This year, we are particularly proud to recognize our Homefront partners, Amazon, Prudential, and USAA, for their steadfast support over years and years of work. I'd like to go ahead and turn the program over to Alex Spizak now, who's a past board member of MSJDN and the founding director of our Homefront to Hired initiative. Cheers to 10 years, MSJDN.
As Kristen said, MSJDN is committed to developing career opportunities for military spouses. One of the biggest challenges our members face is building a meaningful career rather than simply taking a series of jobs at each new duty station. Through Homefront to Hired, MSJDN identifies corporate partners who recognize the value in hiring resilient, resourceful military spouse attorneys, and we connect them with our members through our jobs board, publications, and private hiring events. As the inaugural director of Homefront to Hired, my goal was to educate corporate partners on how they could increase their commitment to supporting military families by hiring military spouses. And what we saw time and again is that once a law firm or corporate legal department brings a military spouse on board, they never look back. As professionals, we are not just talented and hardworking, we value service and commitment. Military life has already taught us how to be flexible in our workspace, hours, and location. We know how to hit the ground running and are resilient to change. And military spouses can represent important diversity for any team. Over 90% of military spouses are women, and 45% identify as racial or ethnic minorities, according to the USO. Just as private companies have stepped up their recruitment and retention efforts, the public sector has also had a huge impact on military spouse career opportunities. Many MSJDNers are proud to work for the Board of Veterans Appeals, an agency headed by a military spouse attorney who surrounds herself with other talented spouses through flexible work arrangements. The U.S. Army JAG Corps presents an amazing model of success. Since prioritizing the hiring of civilian military spouse attorneys in 2014, the Army has hired about 200 military spouse attorneys around the world. In 2020, MSJDN was thrilled to see the Air Force JAG Corps adopt a similar hiring model and magnify that impact for our military families. So far, about 1/4 of MSJDNers report finding a position through our network. In order to continue that trend and support even more professional military spouses and their families, MSJDN is looking to identify partners, both corporate and individual, who will join us in our mission. If you'd like to join MSJDN and support our programs, please use the Donate Now link on your screen or visit our website at www.msjdn.org/donate. Reach out to info@msjdn.org to speak with our board about what your organization can do to improve its commitment to the military spouse hiring by partnering with MSJDN and tapping into our network of talented attorneys. Thanks so much for your support, and cheers to 10 years, MSJDN.
Well, we have come to the end of our program, and I would like to thank you for being with us today, for joining us. It has been an incredible 10 years, and MSJDN is looking forward to another 10 of supporting our military spouses as they strive for the right and the ability to practice law in all 50 states and continue to blaze meaningful, rewarding career paths for military spouse attorneys. We hope that you'll continue to support our mission and visit the MSJDN website to learn much more about year-round programming. For now, we'd like to leave you with the remarks of some of our members reflecting on the impact that this organization has had on them, their families, and their careers.
I am MSJDN because I love being around such a strong, phenomenal group of military spouse attorneys where I can bring my true, authentic self and not be afraid to talk about my personal life in addition to my professional life.
MSJDN is important because it provides a network for legal professionals in unique life circumstances due to our spouse's military service. But MSJDN is so much more. It's a like-minded community who gets your job, your family, and your life.
This year, I'm especially grateful for MSJDN, even though we've had fewer opportunities to see our families and each other. MSJDN has helped us stay connected, support each other, and continue to help military families.
Hi, Lindsay Kennedy. I love MSJDN, and I almost didn't join. I thought, I'm barely practicing law, I'm not a real lawyer. And then I joined, and the camaraderie I felt, I saw that every military spouse faces these same obstacles. I saw other ways they did it, they handled it. I thought it was amazing. I love MSJDN.
Thank you all again for joining us. Please stay safe, and we hope to see you all in person at one of our events in the coming months. Cheers to 10 years, MSJDN.